Good morning. Hey, what's up? This is Brian Kuzmar from Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. And you see the military helicopters flying up the coastline here? Don't see that very often. I notice it once in a blue moon. Not sure where they're going or coming from, but pretty cool no less. Hey, 60 degrees out too. What a beautiful morning. I thought we were done with our cold weather and we were back into, we don't have a springtime. We just have a summer and a fairly cool season. That's it. I thought we were back in summertime, but no, 60 degrees out. It is absolutely gorgeous. I don't even want to work today, but I have to service my customers. Don't have to. I want to. I want to service my customers and keep this store open. Hey, in times of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. George Orwell was one of the writers that, growing up in high school, I think I had some pretty good teachers that had us read 1984, Lord of the Flies, and other books that I don't think kids read today. And this has probably made me the person who I am today as well. But no less, in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act, and that's what we need to do, folks. We need to be revolutionary and tell the truth, even in times of deceit, even when people are going to yell at you for doing it or maybe even cause a bad reaction. Always tell the truth, even in times when it doesn't seem appropriate to do so. Well, at least that's my philosophy. And here's the truth. Fake gold and silver prices are good. There's no lie behind this. I mean, hey, listen, nobody likes the idea of the markets, gold and silver markets being manipulated, and I talk about it, and a lot of other video people or people that have shows where they talk about and do videos on precious metals, talk about the manipulation and all that stuff. But, I guess once you get to a certain age, you realize that almost everything around you is manipulated to some degree. There's a narrative that we've learned from day one that we've been manipulated. We were raised with a particular narrative, a particular idea, a particular opinion on how things should be. So, I mean, really, everything is kind of fake until you get to a certain age and you start making your own decisions, your own. You start knowing what to believe and not being told what to believe, based on smart decisions and the wisdom of age. So anyway, fake gold and silver prices are good. You're probably asking yourself, Brian, how could you possibly say that? Well, if you've been watching the show it's almost been a year since we've been doing these videos here, and if you've been watching the videos for the last year, how does it give us it allows us to buy the friggin' dips. When the markets are monkey hammered down like this, gold and silver is never going to go bankrupt. So, I mean, for you new buyers and new stackers out there that are concerned that, oh my gosh, look, it's going to go down. Is it going to go down? Relax. It provides, if you ask yourself, is the economy going to get better? Now, ask yourself that right now. I'm going to ask myself, Brian, is the economy going to get better? Hell no. That's at least my opinion. What is your opinion? I mean, the way things are running, this virus for the last year has shut everything down for almost a year. Everything, businesses, people are on unemployment, businesses are lost, economies are completely destroyed. However, they're kind of glossing it over. It's kind of weird. It's almost as if nothing happened. And I think that they think that if they act like nothing happened and they just hand money out, people will just be quiet. But no, folks, it's not a good time to be quiet. It's a great time to speak up and speak the truth. So as I said before I got long-winded there, I think fake gold and silver prices are great. They're great for the buyers. Now, if you were in a position where you had gold and silver and you bought it recently at a higher price, $1,900 an ounce, $2,000 an ounce, $1,800 an ounce, you're probably questioning yourself right now, but don't question yourself at all. Buy these friggin' dips, lower your cost average. You won't regret it in the long run. And if you don't have money to buy the dips, don't worry about it. Just relax and wait this out. It's only temporary, folks. And I'm going to discuss why it's only temporary and why fake gold and silver prices are good for us, even though you hate to see anything manipulated in life. But as I said, everything seems to be manipulated, whether it's markets, whether it's laws, whether it's elections, whatever. There seems to be tons of manipulation out there, and it's been going on since we were born. And as I've always said, of course the game is rigged, but if you know how the game is rigged, you can win. So, and that's a that's a saying from Robert Heinlein. And again, I probably screwed it up, but that's more or less the gist of it. I like this article. It's done by Money Metals. Low prices, fast shipping, most trusted. Don't know who they are, but they write some pretty cool stuff. And again, I will beat any online sellers as far as prices go. So I don't mind showing you the competition, whether it's Money Metals, who I'm sure is a good company, AppMax, JM, SD Bullion. If you live in my area, we're a brick and mortar store. I will beat all these guys' prices. It's pretty easy for me to do. And as I've always said, I recommend you look local for a local dealer, not because these online guys are bad or anything like that, simply because I am a huge advocate of keeping the money local. Spend your money local. If there's one thing that this last year has taught us, it's screwed up the local communities more than it has screwed up major corporations. Everybody's gone online to buy stuff, and this is actually, it's kind of a cool thing. On the other hand, it's a bad thing because it's really destroyed communities and local businesses. So whether it's tires, coins, precious metals, jewelry, whatever it is, try to avoid buying from Amazon or online sellers. Look for somebody local in your area, even if you have to drive an hour. Keep that money local. It's really important, folks. Again, I don't want to get accused of talking too much about the same thing over and over, but that is an important subject for me. Buy local, keep the money local, and if you can't, deal with some of the online guys. Let me get into this little article here. Bullion banks sell even more silver. Do they have it? Good article, Clint Siegner. I like it. Anyone with a naked short in silver futures markets risk getting squeezed by physical buying. Well, we've been talking about this for a little while. I think the prices are being artificially kept down, monkey hammered down, to help out these short positions that don't own the silver and gold they need to, and they're out there actively really trying to buy it to cover these naked positions they have in their paper. So even as the paper price in the metal fell more than 4.5% last week, silver shorts sold contracts representing a whole lot more silver than they had available to deliver again last week. Well, we know this. We know that the paper prices and the spot prices we see, gold and silver, are complete bullshit. They're fake. Come on. It's fake. I don't want to call it fake news. I'm so sick of that word fake news, even though I've been inundated. We've been inundated with fake news for the last, I don't know how many years, our whole life probably. But we all know that the paper prices and the spot prices we see on the television and on our handheld devices and our computer, it's bullshit. You can't buy at those prices. But again, I digress, and I'll just keep repeating myself, and I don't want to do that. The disconnect between paper prices and physical demand is getting more ridiculous by the day. Oh, gosh, you couldn't have said it better, Clint. I agree with you 100%. It is also getting more dangerous for COMEX market participants, long and short. The COMEX functions in confidence, which can vanish suddenly. Well, I am surprised that the COMEX even has any validity after this long. It's been years and years and years. Ted Butler's been talking about how they've been running naked positions for God knows how long, which is really, you're creating gold out of thin air, and that's the problem, what we're seeing. That paper price, that spot price that you see on your handheld devices, on TV, the spot prices for gold and silver are bullshit. They're based on paper prices. And we all know that paper is not rare. It is not rare at all. You can just create more of it. That's what the Federal Reserve does, fractional reserve. So we've got a fractional reserve system in COMEX and London and in the gold markets in general. They deal in paper, bullshit paper prices. So this is why I'm always telling you not to worry about it. You own the real stuff. It is. Oh, okay. So let me take a breath here real quick. Sorry about that. It will happen when long contract holders discover en masse the paper they bought cannot be redeemed for actual metal as expected. Well, I think a lot of people know that they don't have the gold, so certain institutional players are probably aware of this. However, many people are not, and I think a lot of new people that have gone in there and bought contracts and are going to ask for demand, and I hear demand is really up for silver. It's pretty crazy right now. They could be in for a surprise. We'll see, but so far COMEX has been able to keep the scam afloat for a long time. So has London bullion banks. They've been able to keep the scam. ETFs have been able to keep the scam alive for a long time, and it's really hard for me to see when it'll end, but again, it'll end eventually, and it'll be good for us physical holders, people that actually own real gold, not a piece of paper. Instead, they get cash settled, and that's the thing with people don't know about silver. After the Hunt brothers drove the silver, and a lot of people think the Hunt brothers did something illegal. They didn't do anything illegal. They played by the games or the rules. They played the game by the rules. And what the Hunt brothers did is they discovered that COMEX did not have silver to back the contracts that they had. And there wasn't a lot of silver out there, so the Hunt brothers started going out buying up large amounts of silver contracts, paper contracts that claimed they had silver behind them. And then they were buying them in London, probably they were buying them in the COMEX. exchange, and then they started going out and buying all the physical they could find and having it stored away. What they were going to do is they were going to squeeze COMEX, and they did it. They took silver at $1980. Silver at $50 in 1980 would be equivalent of $500 silver now, or more, at least probably $500 silver. It would be the equivalent of in those dollars in that time period. So the Hunts were able to drive silver, which would be about $500 now, up to $50 and $1980. They did this by playing by the rules. They went out and they bought all the silver they could possibly find, because they were going to ask for delivery on their paper contracts. Now, this caught COMEX and London and all these bullion banks by surprise, because they weren't used to anybody ever saying, hey, I want my silver instead of paying me the cash. So the Hunts bought all this silver. I'm making this kind of short and maybe uncomplicated, and it's probably more complicated than this, but to make the story short, the Hunts brothers bought all the silver that they could possibly buy, and then they went and they asked all these contract people for their silver, which probably had their jaws dropping to the floor. What, you want us to deliver? Then when they went out to start to look for silver, they found out that they didn't have it, number one. They had to supply it to the Hunts because that's what their contract said, number two. And so they went out and they scrambled to go out and buy the silver anywhere they could. But remember, the Hunts had already been buying physical silver. They'd been already putting it away. So the Hunts had them buy the balls, more or less. The Hunt had COMEX, London, and all these bullion banks buy the balls. They were going to go bankrupt, more or less. But I'll tell you what exactly happened here is the bullion banks were out there trying to buy as much of this stuff as they possibly can. Silver got up to around $50 an ounce. The Hunt brothers were about to bankrupt bullion banks. Would have been the equivalent of bankrupting Lehman now. You know what I'm saying? It would have been a huge, huge deal at the time. So you know what they did? The bullion banks and the powers to be went and had the Hunt brothers' loans called in. Not many people know this, but the Hunt brothers had borrowed money to take this position. And the bullion banks colluded with the banks that the Hunts had borrowed money from, and the bank called the money in. Now, exactly how this happened, I don't know. But now, all of a sudden, the Hunts had to return the money they borrowed. They had to sell their position. This caused a crash in the price of silver in 1980s. It was manipulated, folks. The Hunts played by the rules, and then when the powers to be that were cheating the whole time figured out they were going to lose big and go bankrupt, they changed the rules, and they also screwed the Hunts by getting their loans pulled in. So, after the Hunt brothers lost all that money, and after the Hunt brothers had lost their positions and silver had crashed, COMEX went in, and here's where I got a little off track here, but I'm really not. You know, instead, this little article right here I'm showing you, it will happen when long contract holders en masse, excuse me, the paper they bought cannot be redeemed for the act. Ooh, I get a little something in my throat here. Metal as expected. Instead, they get cash settled. Well, at one time, in no other commodities in COMEX can they settle in cash. After the Hunt brothers really drove the price of silver up, COMEX changed the rules that if they didn't have the silver, they could settle in cash. So this is where they settled in cash, which happens in no other market. I mean, if you have soybeans and you demand delivery of soybeans, of course you have to pay for delivery and storage, but they give you soybeans. They can't pay you in cash. They got to give you soybeans. That's the whole point of COMEX in these London markets. Well, anyways, they changed the rules, they cheated, they manipulated it, and these are the same people that are doing it today. I digressed again. Let me get on to this article. So they get cash, they get settled in cash, or in the event of an outright default, they get nothing at all from insolvent counterparties, which is also a possibility. Garrett Goggin has been keeping an eye on COMEX silver deliveries. He notes a huge difference between this year and last, and this is very interesting. And thanks for writing this, Clint. Very good article. Oh, there goes the phones again. Nobody's here to answer them yet. Let me go back to that. Where is it? Where did I see? Okay, Garrett Goggin has been keeping an eye on COMEX silver deliveries. He notes a huge difference between this year and last. Delivery demand is 20 times what it is for this period last year. So for anybody that doesn't believe there is a silver squeeze going on, and it wasn't a silver squeeze done by the Reddit users, not at all. That just bumped it up a little bit. It doesn't take much to bump the price of silver up. This silver squeeze has been going on for over a year or two. Trust me on this. You may not noticed it, you may not seen it, you're not in the industry, but this squeeze has been going on for a while. So delivery demand is 20 times what it was for this period last year, which is even amazing because there was big deliveries last year. It is approximately 4 times the previous record for the period set in 2010. Now remember, that was the bubble of the silver market, 2011, 2012. Everyone started asking for the product, the physical product. And the 41 million ounces delivered over the past 3 weeks is very significant to the total reserve stockpile of silver in COMEX vaults. Bars in the registered category are the ones actually available for delivery to a new owner. COMEX vaults also contain a large stockpile of eligible silver bars. Bars in this category can be converted to register when owners decide they are willing to let them go. Until then, they are not available to contract holders. So what that is that's allocated silver accounts where someone actually has their name on serial numbered bars. And they own them, and COMEX can't trade them, or they're not tradable by the bullion banks because someone actually has their name on them. Unlike ETFs and a lot of paper silver and gold where it's not allocated and you and 10 other people may own that same ounce. So it looks like 80 to 100 million ounces of physical silver will be delivered in March, likely an new all-time record. That's incredible, folks. So this is probably what we got CME out there doing. CME is out there, and the bullion banks are out there scrambling to buy the silver to make these deliveries. Meanwhile, they can't afford to chase the price of $30 to $35 to $40 like what happened to the Hunts. That would break them. That would bankrupt them. They know this. So they are directly and somehow collusion with, I don't know if it's a government, I don't know if it's big corporations, big financial institutions, but they're in collusion to keep these prices down so they can fill these orders. That's my opinion. That's the opinion of Ted Butler and many people way smarter than me. So watching the registered inventory is a good way to judge whether the effort to squeeze silver prices is working. How much of the silver currently being delivered will remain as registered in the vaults, how much will be converted to eligible and made unavailable, and how much will be moved to segregated storage or removed from COMEX vaults altogether. It could get worse for the banks. Shorts may be nervous. I think they are. I think that's the issue. But, as I've been saying, they make the rules. They are like the casino. So when the rules, when things start to go against them, they can change it midstream. You know, if you were going to Vegas and you're winning a card game big time and you're about to break the casino, they'll just throw your ass right out. Hey, sorry, sir, have a nice day. Here's a complimentary drink. And that's what COMEX and the bullion banks will do. Demand for physical metals keeps accelerating. The COMEX bar inventories continue to fall. And that's good, folks. Keep buying physical silver. Get the message out there to all your friends and family, everyone that you know, to actually, even if they're buying an ounce a month, an ounce a year, whatever it may be, get them to buy a little bit of bullion. This puts huge pressures on these guys, and like the GameStop thing, not exactly like it, because that's a paper market as well. That can be manipulated and fudged, but it's going to be much harder to fudge a physical market. So it'll be GameStop times 10 if people can get this physical market rocking by buying a lot of physical gold and silver. And again, get the word out. It only helps all of us. Even 1,000-ounce bar premiums are elevated, which when I brought up the fact that 1-ounce products are not available, 10-ounce, 100-ounce, most Silver Eagles are not available, people say, well, you know, the manufacturer's not been able to put out stuff. That's true. That is true to some point. But they're trying to say that is strictly because of manufacturing and lack of manufacturing, and they haven't put the stuff out. But that's not true. There's a huge secondary market out there. There's a huge. The truth of it is that the prices are being monkey hammered downward. Physical is really hard to find. Real gold and silver is hard to find, and 1,000-ounce bars, as he points out here, are. The premiums are elevated. The premiums are up on 1,000-ounce bars. You have to pay a premium for even 1,000-ounce bars now. In the past, in the retail market, they would trade for the silver price maybe a quarter more or less because nobody wanted to deal with them because of the bulk of them. But they are being bought up pretty fast right now. As he mentions here, Clint Siegner, as he mentions, is an extraordinary and dangerous time for bullion banks to continue selling silver they don't have. Their play is to destroy sentiment and shake investors out of market. Thus far, at least on the physical front, this effort appears to be backfiring. And this is what we've been talking about for years. Thank you, Clint. You wrote a great article, and you kept it short, too, and to the point. Clint's with Money Metals Exchange. And again, I don't mind showing you potential competition because I can beat all their prices. And I do respect them all, but I'm going to be bold and say that I am a brick and mortar. I don't sell online, so if you live in my area, I can beat all the competitors that I show you prices, the great competitors that are out there. Let's move on to this. This is why gold and silver got hammered yesterday, and I think it's I don't want to say gold and silver was manipulated and the bond market just, they used the bond market to do it. That would not be correct. The bond market is so much huger than gold and silver. There's no way that the guys in black, let me just say the men in black, would say, you know what, gold and silver is getting too high. Let's use bonds to lower the. No, that's not the way it works. However, I do believe that people that trade majorly, whether it's government institution or some huge financial institutions, are privy to bond market information and use that bond market information to trade gold and silver early in the morning or during off-market hours. And that's how I believe they monkey hammered it as well. So the bond market kind of went, what was it, a 10-year was at 1.6. It was crazy, the highest in years and years and years on Monday. But it collapsed Tuesday, it collapsed yesterday. And as I told you, when the bond market went up, gold and silver got monkey hammered big time. But I told you, don't worry, it's a buying opportunity, and I was correct on this. Remember, dollar strength, bond strength is only temporary. They can't get bonds up that high for that long because the government can't afford to borrow at that rate. And they got to worry about inflation. The Fed is between a rock and a hard place, and your best protection is gold and silver, in my opinion. Let's take a look at this article. The markets are at a crossover. We've had one major rally this week, and we've had one Monday. And what happened to gold, folks? Got monkey hammered bad. If you woke up, you're probably cussing yourself. And I wasn't, because I see this happen all the time. It's like, they did it again. Big smile on my face. Not mad at all. Again, provides an opportunity to do what? Buy the frickin' dips. And we've had one major drop this week on Tuesday. The issue is which one was the real deal. Monday could easily have been, I like this article too, nails it. Monday could easily have been the result of short covering at the start of the month buying by financial institution. Similar, Tuesday could have been the markets dropping simply because China issued a warning that it believes U.S. stocks are in a bubble. So, I mean, what do you believe? It's pretty tough. And honestly, it's impossible to tell. However, bond strength, in my opinion, when you see it happen and when you see interest rates kind of go up, it is temporary, folks. The Fed and world banks cannot and will not raise interest rates. It will completely screw the economies of all major governments. And it'll screw, they raise interest rates, it'll screw the housing market. They raise interest rates, it'll screw the stock market. They raise interest rates, it'll screw governments from borrowing. Their debt will just be insane, unpayable. So we are at forever low interest rates, even though you'll see these blips, and they will cause gold and silver to go down. They are temporary, remember that. So, hey, I'm not going to read this whole article because I think you got the idea behind the thing, and I could make this show for 2 hours if I'm not careful. But good article on Zero Hedge. You can read this for free on Zero Hedge. Warning, the bond market is starting to blow up again. It applies to our market for sure, folks. Another little article here. Gold and silver went into backwardization today. A bullish sign, Turk tells KWN. Gold Money founder and God consultant James Turk tells King World News today that gold and silver prices went into backwardization today, signifying that low prices brought out buyers of real metal, a bullish sign. Turk says that it seems that the weak hands trading the metal on margin in the futures market have been washed out. I don't quite know if those shorts are washed out. I wouldn't be too confident. But again, if they're not, big deal. It goes down a little bit more. Just buy the dips, folks. You won't regret doing it. At some point, we're going to wake up and we're going to see gold and silver prices just go through the roof. Good article to read. This is guided.org. You should have this website on your bookmarks up above and make it part of your weekly, or not daily because I don't change the articles that much. But I'll be right with you, sir. Sorry, someone else had to get the phone. God, they're all ringing now. So I definitely will put this on your bookmark in your weekly reading homework for sure. It'll make you smarter than the average bear, make you way smarter than the average gold and silver investor and buyer, and even smarter than a lot of people that buy and sell and do videos. So I got to talk about some of these guys that do videos. I love some of them. The Great Reset is coming for currency. Another interesting article written by Money Metals. God, these guys are pumping out some good articles here. Stephen Gleason, as the Great Reset proceeds from globalist think tanks. Now, the Great Reset is kind of a, some people think it's a conspiracy. It's tough to say. I believe it in some manner. I don't believe, again, the Men in Black kind of deal where there's a bunch of, a guy like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons in the back room with a bunch of guys in black and black helicopters and black Suburbans that are running the whole world. I believe it's a conglomerate of multi-billion dollar institutions, financial institutions, governments working together, and others working together to take care of themselves and make sure that we get a little piece of it so we don't go crazy on them. So the Great Reset is coming for the currency. Supporters of the World Forum's all economic Great Reset are I didn't pull this up to talk about the economic reset, which people have been talking about, and everyone's got their own idea what it looks like. But here's what I was interested in. Bitcoin's recent surge of 1 trillion market value, it has since pulled back some, irked central bankers and government officials. This is what I've been saying for some time. Bitcoin is still unregulated market. Right now you've got huge whales in there, and if you're a small fish, don't not expect to get eaten. You will be eaten, folks. This market right now is unregulated, and the crypto market's fairly unregulated. It is not anonymous, so any money you make in there, don't forget you do have to report it as a capital gains. They know you have it. There is a trail of it, so don't think you've got anonymous money that you can count on someday. And Bitcoin, again, it's run by whales, and I don't think that governments are going to tolerate it. Governments, as I said, and bankers hate competition, and they make the rules. So, since Bitcoin's got to $1 trillion market, it has pissed off central bankers and government officials. While they have long complained that cryptocurrencies supposedly a major vehicle for fraud and other illegal transactions, officials now are focusing their ire on crypto mining's energy use. So, not only are the bankers and governments going, China, it's legal to have Bitcoin right now, and a lot of countries are. America and Europe and some countries, I think Bitcoin's got its foot in the door too much. So they're not going to make it illegal, even though they would love to, but they are going to heavily regulate it. And again, it'll be like a money market for big financial corporations to put their money in and out of it, almost like a casino. And a small fish will get eaten again, will get killed in it. Stay away from that market. If you made money on it, great. But meanwhile, take your money and walk and put it into gold. Supposed to be a major vehicle fraud anyway. Since the Great Reset prescribes a transition to sustainable economy, so it never even occurred to me, but this guy brings up an excellent point. So banks and governments hate it because they don't control it. So they're going to end it, but not under just the pretense of fraud and that kind of thing. They're going to end it because of the amount of energy it takes. And this never occurred to me. But it does take a lot of energy to create a Bitcoin. And now that we're in a green, sustainable economy, guess who is going to go after Bitcoin? All these greenies and all these people are all for a green economy, or say they are because it benefits them financially, like the government and like the banks will. Yellen derided Bitcoin as an extremely inefficient way to conduct transitions. Who's in control, folks? Yellen, right? This is the person in control that's really effing with Bitcoin right now as an extremely inefficient way to conduct transactions because the amount of energy consumed in processing those transactions are staggering. You know what? The fact is the sign is out there. The sign, it's on the wall. The writing is on the wall. They are going to heavily regulate or eliminate Bitcoin. And what are they going to do? Exactly what he says down here. I think they are going to take over Bitcoin themselves. Look, Yellen, Powell openly push for a digital dollar. That's where it's going, folks. And I've always questioned where Bitcoin came from. Satoshi, some guy named Satoshi. Who the heck was Satoshi? We don't even know. Some people have been speculating it might be the CIA. It could be the NSA. For all we know, it could be the Chinese running Bitcoin. Nobody factually knows this. And this is why it really concerns me that nobody asked this question. You're going to put $1 trillion into this market, and you don't know if Kim Jong from North Korea has a back door and knows, maybe not. Maybe that's a conspiracy, but who is Shatori or whatever his name is? You don't just buy and put trillions of dollars something when you don't know who created it, how it was, or you don't know who created it, and you don't know what the real intent behind the creation was. My idea is that this thing may have been floated out there as a test project to see if they can get rid of paper currencies. Again, that's my conspiracy. However, Yellen, for all you crypto guys out there, and again, I'm a capitalist, full capitalist. So if you made money in cryptos, freaking great. I'm proud of you. I wish I could have done it myself. I didn't. I didn't know enough about it. You did. But meanwhile, don't be in denial that these people are going to get rid of what you've done here, or they're going to regulate it, or they're going to make it illegal. If you can make your profits, make your profits. And my suggestion is buy gold and silver and get into some other things too. Hard, tangible assets is what I like. My opinion on cryptos, no matter how I look at it, like US dollars, cryptos are nothing more than digital fiat money, backed by nothing. And if I lose my electricity and or internet or encryption, I am screwed. And we know that's true. Look what happened in Texas. I've been through hurricanes here in Florida where we haven't had power for 3 weeks. You think I could get any crypto or pay for anything? I had no electricity, no internet. If I didn't have some dollar bills in my pocket and the banks didn't open up to pass out some dollar bills to account holders somehow, I would have starved. So, to rely on electronic stuff, no way, especially in times of emergencies or bad times. At least with a fiat dollar bill, I can wipe my ass with it or spin it in the Costa Rican jungle with no power or internet. Me, I buy gold and silver, 5,000-year track record, real finite money, made by colliding stars, not by some gold. And I did write this, folks. In a nutshell, it kind of explains my feeling. But again, I am not a Bitcoin hater. I am not a crypto hater. I just understand it for what it is, and I understand what's happening to it, and I understand where it's going. Some of you that made a ton of money on this, I think you might be blinded by that money you've made, but you really need to see where it's going and what it is. That's my opinion. I promise you I do this daily answering comments here. And after the length of this show, man, this is going to be a 3-hour show, so sorry about this. But let's answer some questions here. Jason, this is from yesterday's talk. Jason Foster, thank you for talking about the obvious lack of privacy and negatives of cryptos and blockchains. Oh, what a coincidence. I just got done talking about that as well. Again, they are obviously a setup, and I don't understand what blockchain advocates are so excited. But, man, that comment is exactly what I was just talking about. But what I did miss is something that I believe that once the Fed and the government takes it over, do me a favor, type in on Google the Chinese social credit system. I want you to read that because it's extremely dangerous, and I think it's where we're going in this country. And what if our form of payment, and our form of dealing with each other, money is going to be electronic only, no paper, no checks, electronic only. This frightens the hell out of me. And again, read Chinese social credit system. Because what I'm afraid of, if we go to an all crypto-based system someday, you'll be paid in crypto, you'll pay people in crypto. However, you know what's going to happen? You will not have any privacy in your financial life ever again. They'll know everything you do. There will be a record of it, a track of it. Not only that, if, say, for example, you get pulled over by a cop and you get a speeding fine, they're going to automatically take it out of your crypto, I bet, one day. Say, for example, you owe IRS money. It's no more, hey, pay us in 3 months. Oh, you got money in your crypto account. We're going to wipe it out. You watch what's going to happen if they get a hold of this crypto monies, and that's all they service. Big trouble, folks, in my opinion. So I agree with you 100%, Jason Foster. I think that's where it's going to. Knight of Templar, no fan of crypto. Thank you. I'm no fan of it in the way that I've just discussed it. However, again, not a crypto hater. I do see a place for this technology in peer-to-peer transfers of wealth, whether it's gold, whether it's U.S. dollars, whether it's Canadian dollars, whether it's widgets. I do see a use for this technology. I just don't know enough about it to really explain it that well. However, I am not anti-crypto. I just understand it for what it is, where it's going, and I see a use for it too, but not the use the government or banks wants. That's my opinion. Impossible Machine says, JPM is supposed to be the monster against silver. Look at the last 6 months, SLVGOD versus JPM. Who wins? JPM by a mile. Peter has been saying, well, I'm going to go into that first. JPM got fined almost $1 billion for, people were denying that markets were being manipulated. And guess what? JPM got caught red-handed, had to pay almost $1 billion fine. So I think they're kind of backed out of that. My understanding is that criminal charges were withheld for them manipulating the silver market or the gold market. I think it was the silver market. But if they get caught again, they could be liable for criminal charges. So I think JPM, they're already billionaires enough. So they didn't mind paying $1 billion fine because they probably made $20 billion. But, as soon as the government starts mentioning time and doing criminal charges, whoa, I guarantee you they have backed off substantially. I guarantee it. But that doesn't mean other institutions aren't out there playing Mr. Impossible Machine, so I could agree with you. Peter Schiff has been saying the same thing for 20 years. I've heard that broken record thing about 20. That's not necessarily true. That's naysayers. I think someone on, that's something that CNBC reporter that was arguing with Peter Schiff once said, even a clock's right once every 12 hours. But Peter Schiff's been right on the money, sir. The man is really, really smart. However, where he's been wrong and he made his mistake is he underestimated the power of the Federal Reserve's printing presses. Never underestimate the man that owns the printing press. Just don't do it. And that's what Peter did. He underestimated the Fed's printing power. And he's dead spot right on about his reasoning. Why? Again, he just underestimating the power of the printing press. And I think he learned his mistakes, and since then he's been very careful about not quoting time frames. And I've been the same way. I quoted time frames, and I was completely wrong. I underestimated the Fed for sure. I thought they would have been long done with their little game, but nope, still rolling, still going. But at some point, the game will end. And Peter's right, and I believe I'm right on that as well. Thanks for watching Impossible Machine. I appreciate that. Mac Poplin, misspellings intentional. Can we talk about Peter Schiff's great-grandfather Jacob, fun of the Bolshevik revolution? Mac, I don't think you got to worry about spelling his real name or anything like that. I don't think he's going to sue you, and I don't think he's going to have you killed. So it's cool. I don't know what the Peter Schiff's great-grandfather did, whether he was involved with communists or not, or whether he was involved with the major banking or not. But I do know that the Peter Schiff today is a very smart, intelligent man. And regardless of who his grandparents or relatives were in the past, that's irrelevant. The real thing is what he's talking about today and what he says today. So I can't substantiate that. Peter owns this country. Now, I kind of disagree with you, Mr. Poplin, but if you ever want to talk about it more, give me a call on my phone. Happy to discuss it with you for a few minutes after hours, after 4 p.m. Jay Gills. Hey, Brian, where do you feel the GSR should be around? I keep buying silver instead of gold because I feel it's more undervalued metal right now. I agree with you on silver. I think silver's still way undervalued, but with the hit that gold took, in the last 6 months from that 19 to 17, I think gold's a little bit undervalued myself, as well as platinum. I like all three metals. Just keep stacking physical. Stay away from the paper assets. That's my opinion. Brian Pedersen, there you are again. Brian, traded some more fake fiat for real gold and silver. Good for you, sir. Pretty good deal for me, even with premiums. If you can find gold and silver, buy the physical. Why you can. Agree 100%. Thanks for watching, Brian. Really appreciate your support. And thanks for giving me a call and thanking me for doing the show. I really appreciate that as well. Josh Janke, thanks for the content. Been loading up as much as financially possible. Watching people listen to the band play after the ship struck the iceberg last March has been sad. Can't argue with that, sir. I mean, you can talk to your blue in the face to people that you love and people you care about. Sometimes they just look at you blankly. It's the narrative that I've talked about in the beginning of the show. We've all been raised with a narrative. And when you watch corporate news, they give you the same narrative all the time. You know, one of the things that I think was really important for me is to look at other opinions and search for other ideas and other opinions. Search for things outside the narrative that I was taught. But a lot of people don't do that, sir. Let's see, watching people... water is spilling over the head, and once she goes down, we have to watch the panic from our lifeboats. Nothing can be done, and people are just clueless to the devastation that await these sheep. No argument there, but you still can't help feel sorry for people. And you know what, Josh, you still need to go out there and speak the truth. In times of deceit, the truth tellers are really the heroes. And if you keep telling the truth out there and keep questioning your own narrative, never assume you're always right, we'll win eventually. R42 Forecaster, funny finding your channel. I sold you guys some coins before I left the area. I sold to your father. Not many people know this, but I am a second-generation coin and precious metals dealer. I learned this from my father. I've been doing this a long time. But he was at a show somewhere in the state. My father loves shows. And a family-owned business. Yes, my father's was a family-owned business, is a family-owned business. He's still somewhat involved in the business. In my business, I actually have my sister and my nephew working for me, so I guess you can say it's a family business. However, even the people that don't work for me, they're my family, and I feel they're just as much family as my family. So we are a big family here. Hey, thanks for watching. Josh Janke. Oh, I did look at your videos, by the way, dude. If you get a chance, go to Josh Janke. I couldn't believe San Francisco is like a freaking ghost town still. Wow. That busy-ass district down by the water, I just can't believe it. It's like you could start shooting down there with a gun down the middle of that road, and you wouldn't hit anything. Wow! Thanks for sharing that, Josh. Very interesting. John Johnson, a dime a day has been the standard pay for 1,000 years. Don't value silver, gold, dollars. Use time spent and realize it is 2 weeks' pay, and silver and gold will overshoot. Can't argue with that, John. Good advice. FN Mag, never heard the show before. It's a great one. My pleasure to hear it, and I'll be listening from now on. Hey, thanks, FN Mag. I really appreciate that. Again, got any questions, ask me in the comment section. I'll try to answer them. DJA Silver 70, yeah, the premiums are high due to the lack of product. Lacquer. Oh, you spell like I do, sir. The dealers need to stay in business, so they have to stretch out their profits for futures of the business. If you want to stay in business, and even if you hate having to pay as a dealer, and I do, I hate having to pay $2 and $3 over an ounce for a price of silver, and I hate even more having to charge extra to make a profit. But if I don't do that, I don't stay in business. So it's nothing about greedy dealers. It's just a matter of lack of product out there, folks. Robert, hey, bud, what's up? I will get some fishing, and you saw the ocean this morning. Take a look at this real quick, Robert. Oh man, that's not it. It was actually there. Look at that. It's like 60 degrees, Rob. Oh gosh, I'm dying to get out fishing. In fact, I'd like to just quit this right now and grab my pole and go out there, even though it's not the best time to do it. Beautiful day out there. Oh, there, lost where I was going. Hey, and thanks for watching, Robert. Murray, hey Murray, stack on gold and platinum watch cheap, 100% agree with you. Dewey, nice to see you comment again. I have been seen this show before. I've seen the deterioration of society, decrease of standard of living, unable to make a living without normal wages, and government ignoring the population. This is why I moved to the U.S. from Central America about 20 years ago. Dewey, actually I thought about moving down to Panama or Costa Rica and buying a place down there just because I love surfing, I love fishing, and I love the environment down there. But right now I can't do it. Maybe sometime give me a call if you get a chance. I'd like to see where you're living. This is why I moved to the U.S. from Central America 20 years ago. Now it makes me sad to see the same signs in the U.S. I pray for this country. We'll be fine. We'll be fine, Dewey. I think there's enough smart people out there that do question the narrative, enough people that are brave enough to question the bullshit and the fake news and the nonsense that we're handed. So I think as long as we all keep going, passing the truth around, as I mentioned here in Where's My Little Meme, in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. I think if we all become revolutionaries of truth, the world will be fine. Just keep it up, sir, and that's my opinion. Hey, that is it for answering comments by the effing dips. That was yesterday's show. Any comments on today, I'll try to answer them on tomorrow's show. CCE spot prices. I was expecting to see sub 1700, more monkey hammering, but I did not. That's probably because the bond market did not stay strong. It got monkey hammered as well. So we're kind of sideways at this point. However, tomorrow is Friday, and on Fridays, I call them monkey hammering fucking Fridays, excuse my language. But we could see some more monkey hammering today. But what does that do? Again, provides the opportunity to buy the friggin' dips. So right now we're looking at 1740. We had a range of 1708 to 1723, so it's staying away from that high 16 number and staying above 1700, it looks like. But again, Friday's a whole different day. Friday's not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Let's wait and see what happens on Friday. I think Friday's a big day for us. If we close above 1700 and above this 26 level on Friday, I feel confident that the following week will be okay. And again, you'll start to see prices go up again. Regardless, buy the dips. So what was the range? 1708 to 1723. Nothing exciting there. Silver still trading above that $26 mark, but it looks like last night it got down below that 26 mark. But still, not bad, folks. I mean, silver's hanging on to this, and I have a feeling it has something to do with the huge amount of physical buyers of silver out there right now. That is what's preventing this paper price from even going lower than it is. Gold doesn't have that same problem. The demand is there for gold, but there is a lot of gold out there still, and there's still gold product being produced and moved around. So, but silver, I don't think they can hammer it much below this $26, $25 level, just with the amount of silver being bought out there. That's just my opinion. Platinum still super cheap. Palladium, don't care about it. Don't sell enough of it to care about it. So I won't even go into it. Well, that's really about it, folks. What's the best products out there? Best products I can get you are gold bars. They're cheaper than maples. They're cheaper than eagles. They're cheaper than all the other products out there, and it's a great product made by Balcombi. So that's the best deal we have in the store right now for gold bars. And as far as silver goes, the best deals we have, I'm having a hard time getting 1 ounce generic rounds, but I should be getting some soon. But 100 ounce Balcombi bars, which are extremely pretty, a premium made bar. I've got a great price on them. And as I told you, I am a brick and mortar. I only sell local. So if you're looking to buy gold and silver and you live outside my area, I'm really sorry I can't do it for you. You have to live locally in order to deal with me. However, as I've been saying, please buy local. Even if you have to drive an hour or so to go do it, keep the money in your state, keep it in your county, keep it in your city. If you can. Very important to do this, and I don't care if you're buying gold or whatever, whether you're buying tires or jewelry, as I've said 100 times, keep it local, folks, please. And if you can't find someone local, there are some big sellers out there online. Again, but your local dealer and myself can easily beat these guys most time. Well, that's really about it. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Ware Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. I'm going to go outside, too. I'm going to take a walk down the beach here as soon as I'm done with this. So nice out there. At 954-493-8811. Call me anytime between 10 and 4, Mondays through Fridays, to ask me what the best deal is on precious metals or any other questions you may have. And don't forget to check out my other videos. I do have some educational videos in our YouTube page that might be worth you watching and answer some questions that I haven't answered or save you from asking me. Well, that's really about it. Call me anytime, and if anything crazy happens today in precious metals prices, I will do another show. If not, I'll come back tomorrow, answer your comments from today tomorrow, and do another show. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button if you will. And again, I really appreciate it. Bye now.